I'd like to call to order the Board of Selectmen's meeting for Dresden on January 3rd, 2023. First item I'm gonna have here is the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna take something out of order here, this evening and let the gentleman get out of here. I get Fred Brewer here, and he's just gonna talk a little bit about the audit. We're not gonna discuss specifics of the audit. But if you have some general questions, that's fine, or whatever he feels comfortable answering.
So you guys have kind of a little bit of a draft copy of the financial statements. You can look at it. I'll talk about one or two things in there. We don't have it, so yeah, we talk to the people who don't.
Yeah, you don't have copies.
It's free.
Yeah, once we get.
Well, he just said we had copies.
Oh, we have copies.
So, a couple things to highlight. So if you look on the very last page, gives you your cash position. So it's a mix of a few accounts that are at various banks. So you've got $700,000 or so that's at Camden National, 200,000 that's at First National Bank, 200,000 at TD Bank, and then you get that $400 in petty cash. So usually what we're looking at is making sure that everything's reconciled, which it was. You know, it was always to limit your risk, why it was at so many different accounts, different banks. So that's why there are multiple accounts there. One thing most selectmen are concerned about is the ones that's Schedule A3. This is your undesignated funds.
Surplus.
Yes, so that's surplus. So it's what you got left at the end of the day. So at the beginning of the year, you started about $914,000. You had $150,000 that you added from accounts that lapsed into your undesignated fund. So a lot of that was excess motor vehicle excise and registrations. So that added to your undesignated funds. If you look down below that, you had various articles at town meeting that you took out of your undesignated fund. Most of it was capital oriented, which was good. It's nice to see utilizing those excess funds to do things like you bought a fire truck. That was with the $68,311. That was the amount in the capital improvement account that needed to be covered in order to pay for the $280,000 fire truck. So you look at it, you're pretty much in the same position that you were in at the beginning of the year as you were at the end. So we went up a little bit, but it's always good based on what you spend for the year to go up. Try and get it to go up a little bit. It doesn't always happen that way. So yeah, things look pretty good. I know Daniel worked pretty hard on trying to get things reconciled and the day before he got to us, so that was very helpful.
We're not looking for what we bad.
No, pretty consistent.
Yeah.
Which is good. It just means that you didn't ask the taxpayer for too much money and you didn't overspend a lot of stuff, so overall, things look pretty good.
So on that A3,
Yeah,
the capital stuff that Daniel's got it set now is better than what we was doing before, because we're drawing out of our capital.
yep. Oh, that's what it's there for. I mean, for years you put money into it and saved money up, and when you needed it, when the opportunity arose to buy the fire truck, you jumped at the opportunity. And all you had to do was ask the taxpayer to take it out of money that you already had. So,
I think I know what he's asking, sorry.
okay,
Because we used to just have one fund, but I split it out into, as
Oh,
you know,
okay.
yeah, so now when we want to know how much we have in the capital projects, there's a capital projects fund, you just look at that.
Right?
Yeah,
And I see the purpose of it, I did it before,
yeah,
and I see the purpose, instead of a whole bunch of line items and everything comes, all one thing comes out of capital, like all the highway, all the recycling center, all the fire department, we have different capitals for them.
Yep.
So,
well, it just means that you're allocating specifically for that purpose. I mean, you know, you've got a fire truck, it's been the last 30 years, so. I mean, I do a lot of that, I look at it and say, okay, what's it gonna cost for a new one? Well, what you paid for that one you've got now isn't even close to that. I was talking to one of the sales rep for E1, and he said they were doing. It wasn't quarterly, but it was almost as often, 5 to 7% over the last few years. I mean, you're talking 16, 17% annually for increases on apparatus. And that, I mean, that's not sustainable, and he knows that too, but.
so is anything in here that we need to improve on?
No, I mean, you've got Daniel who's a little bit stronger now, which I think helps. Keep looking and asking questions. I usually tell boards that all the time, ask questions. It's easier to keep things going, but at the same time, it's here to answer all your questions so that when you're talking to people and they ask you questions about things that are going on in town, you get the same answer that everybody else in the board gives. So, I mean, I've had boards that have basically rubber stamped the warrants. I've watched boards that they sit there for the whole meeting and they're reading through it, looking at every invoice and asking questions of the treasurer. I'm not saying you're gonna go in that level of detail, but I mean, you've been on here how many years?
Oh,
Too many.
A few. So, but if you're looking at the expenses and you see that there's a huge change in, say, the electric expense. It registers and you hit to say, okay, what's going on here? I mean, roads especially, that's your specialty. So, you understand things and understand how the town operates. So that's a pretty good, what we call internal control, because we're looking at things and saying, okay, if everybody understands what's going on, that protects every single person in the room. From the people that are running the town to the people that are paying the property taxes.
Thank you.
So, any other questions?
Any general questions?
Oh, we can ask questions now?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
We're not gonna get into specifics, Gary. I mean, if you have a general question for him, that's fine, but we're not gonna get into specifics.
I can't get into any specifics.
No, because we haven't seen,
Okay, all right, I'll ask a general question. Hi, nice to meet you. Is this the first time you've ever presented to a select board here in Dresden?
No.
No?
The last audit, I presented it as well.
You did?
Yep.
Okay,
I tried it. I'll be honest with you, this is one of the things that I like about my job.
right.
I enjoy getting out and going to all these board meetings and talking to the selectmen.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of delivering the audit and making sure that everybody kind of understands what's going on. And it's easier for me to sit down with the selectmen and say, okay, let's go through all of this stuff. It takes a little bit longer, but at the end of the day, to me, it's important that they.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. I've never met you before, and I must have missed the meeting that last time you presented this, and I'm also on the budget committee, so I apologize for the lack of tardiness there. One other general question. You work with a lot of towns.
Yep.
And a lot of these towns use the TRIO system.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
TRIO has been both a blessing and a curse for us in a general sense.
Yep.
We've had a lot of problems with them, and Daniel's been incredibly frustrated. He's told them, I can't tell you how many times, according to Daniel, and they've been totally unresponsive there.
So.
Is that kind of the way it is?
The progression. So I've been doing this since '99, so I came in when they first started really getting into the Windows version and all of that stuff. So I've watched them grow. They've had a lot of really good employees that have come and gone. And my experience right now is they've got a lot of new employees. And it's harder for them to respond to a lot of the questions. I've had people come just as frustrated with them for the same reason.
So how would you recommend as an independent auditor, how could we address that? How could we improve that? Because it basically ties the town's hands and the ability to give you data.
Yeah.
Right, as well as other, authorities in the town.
Yeah, and it's, the thing that I like about it is its level of integration. So what you're doing with the assessing, with trial balance, motor vehicle, all of those things have really good control. So in my eyes, it does a lot of really good things.
Right.
The hard part is when things aren't set up correctly. And they had one woman, her name was Amy, and I had one time I said, this is a mess. Let's fix it. So she said, come sit down with me. We sat down and in about 4 hours, cleaned everything up and fixed all of the issues. And their trio was great. They, to my knowledge, don't have that person anymore. She was gone a long time, right?
Okay.
But the thing is, the hard part is, there's not a whole lot of other software packages that are out there that are as reasonably priced. If you wanted to get into Munis, sure,
Yeah.
you're a couple $100,000 a year in your annual fees. For you guys, that's, yeah, that's not worth it. Now, I don't have anybody that uses Munis anymore. I had 1 or 2 years ago, and they get tired of paying that much money. So they all shoot for that. And of the, I think I'm wrong, but I think 26 towns and municipalities. Pretty much all the towns we do are trio. I've had 2 or 3 that are QuickBooks or something else.
So that's great, because then your team is really trained to how they set up everything. See somebody did that a different format, that's a positive flag for us as a town, right?
And I had one where they upgraded, and when they upgraded, some of the settings for payroll weren't correct. And we came in and looked at it and said, what's going on here? This doesn't seem right. I think we were testing payroll. And one of the payroll codes was coded incorrectly. So it was coded as pre-tax and should have been after tax. So it was throwing off those calculations. We were able to look at it as a confusion sheet.
Well, thank you, and happy New Year to you.
Yes. You got anything for Craig? No.
No. When do you think you'll have the whole package? Rest of it? I mean,
Probably sometime early next week, just because it's a short week and. Trying to get everybody back on track and having a long weekend, so.
thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Fred.
All right, thank you, guys. Good seeing you.
Appreciate you coming in and spending a few minutes with us.
Not gonna stay for fireworks. Yeah, doesn't bother me. I enjoy this stuff.
You were sick, man.
Fred, again, thank you. Okay, next on the agenda, approve and sign the minutes of the previous meeting.
So did you check on the price of the salt?
That's what the contract price was for the cog, was 68. From Tim LaPlante? No, not Tim LaPlante.
From, yeah, from the plant
Yeah.
down in.
Yep.
You actually have the email from that, I mean, you don't have to have it now, but. You actually have the email, it said $64 a ton when we went with them?
I do.
Okay, you don't have to do it now, but I would like to see that, I mean. I don't know why I'm thinking.
It was less than that, but I've been around before, can't remember when, but. Happy New Year, that was a funny joke.
I got it. If we ask your wife if she don't tell us the same thing.
You don't ask her, right? Yeah.
That was pretty accurate, so I make a motion, we. Second.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next, approve and sign the present warrants, accounts payable warrant, and the payroll warrant.
Everything I think is standard. There is two payroll warrants because we changed the pay rate for Ann, so. I had to make an adjustment, so there's two payroll warrants for that. Yeah. Nothing to explain.
Where minimum wage will not be, guided transfer station where they're supposed to be?
Yeah,
Okay,
they
was
were
that next
already,
time?
yeah, they were already well over that.
Making sure.
Yeah. That was, I did check on that. It did bump Sherry up as the minute taker for all of the meetings.
General announcements. The next regular meeting of the select board will be January 17th, 2023, 5 o'clock here at the hall.
I was gonna say, we didn't,
Did vote on the one.
I'll make the motion, we accept the
Oh,
warrant,
sorry about that.
and, we don't have a water on it, so.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Sorry about that. Okay. No announcements the same. Town committee reports. Planning board.
I don't believe they're here, but I will say that they were in agreement about the changes to the survey, and I'm gonna start to coordinate with them to get that mailing out in the next week or less.
School board.
Well, it's a new year. The only thing I have to put out in reference to the school board is our meeting this coming Thursday night. Gonna be held at the Richmond Middle School. We haven't had a change due to coordination issues, and it's close to deciding whether or not to move to the Dresden School for this upcoming weekend. So it's still currently going to be at the Richmond Middle School, 6 o'clock in the cafeteria. It'll also be on Zoom for those that wish to attend that way. Outside of that, we're currently, we didn't have any meetings from our last meeting. For anything new to develop, so currently we're still gonna be pushing for the superintendent announcement coming out here in January. And budget is still collecting the data. We should be getting a first initial administrator's request forward to the superintendent's office, and we'll see what the account manager asks for at the budget meeting.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, sir. Broadband committee.
And we too haven't met over the holidays, but we've gotten all of the information for the Get Ready grant. And Daniel has all the website information that he needs to get out to them, and then we'll be able to start taking advantage of the resources that the state has got. And then the website is kind of slow and getting up, and there's like 4 or 5 of the committees that don't have anything at all written up, and nothing, and a lot of them have something written up, but it's like 2021. This was the last time anything was posted, And, I just wonder, what's the best way to get them to start participating and having the website say what it's supposed to say. Any suggestions?
Lauren and I are gonna be meeting soon to talk about the updating of the website, because we have to have a process about how to update the new one now that it's gonna. Now that it's going to look better and to be used more. So Lauren and I will meet and then we'll come up with something. I'm
Good,
hoping to bring more people
yeah,
into the fold.
good.
Education Exploratory Committee.
Good evening, gentlemen. I just have a couple quick things. We're meeting next Tuesday, January 10th. And we haven't met since that last time that I gave an update. So we'll be starting off fresh as a committee on the 10th. That's all I have for you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, select board reports, transportation.
There has been some sickness happening at the trash station, so we apologize if somebody tried to go there when it was closed and it should have been open. There has been some illness going around. They're all back on the side of the living. That Don and I and Ernie have talked about the bottle situation, because we got rid of all the bottles and they are growing more now than they did before. So you may have to come up with another way to get rid of them on like a quicker basis, because we shouldn't rely on one person to like do all of it.
And they're all cleaned out, as of the weekend, so.
Oh, good, awesome. So,
It is getting harder. My wife went to that Billy's Bottle Barn.
yeah,
And there were so many people
Yeah.
waiting over there, so she went to Randolph, and she was over an hour.
Yeah.
And some lady, she ended up giving her, 10 bags of Coke, because she wasn't waiting anymore, so it's, nobody's,
yeah,
I don't know what it is about it, and. Although they did say a new one opened up. By Harvey's Hardware in Gardner. I think it used to be Tiger Town or something, whether.
It's always been, there's been one there right along.
Well, I think it closed. Somebody said it must have reopened again.
No, that wasn't Tiger Town. That was up in Augusta where Damon's used to be. They
No,
closed it,
that'll be-
rebuilt it and then opened it back up. Tiger Town's been open straight. We were doing.
Oh, okay. All right, so,
But they're just so swamped. Again, they're swamped, all of the swamp bugs in Augusta. That one's just as much, they're only accepting 10 bags at a time. And it's competing with labor costs. Paying someone $6, $10, $11, $12 an hour to count bottles. For 5 cents a piece, or, that's what the issue is. Exactly.
I guess my 10-year-olds don't know how to
The
count.
process is working for now, until we find
Yeah.
somewhere that we can push on.
so we'll make them. Myself, or I'll have Cindy ride down, there's a place in Brunswick, right on Old Route 1. They said just open back up, or is open, and I don't know where it is, but she goes down that way 2 or 3 times a week. I'll ask her to stop in and check it out.
See if they're accepting stuff.
Yeah, see what they.
Okay, town office.
We have been good. We're gonna talk about it later. We have somebody to appoint as the new town clerk. There is the foreclosure date was December the 30th, and as far as I'm aware, there was only one property that was not paid off in time. Obviously, we already have some people that have paid off in time. Okay. Must be a fire call. Are you in the fire department? What, are you on the fire department? No. So that, I was telling the select board, we are current, if you send emails to the town and we don't respond, or you don't get one back from us, our emails are being switched over right now. They are switched over, we just have to get them switched over. We have to log into the new system. So there's that, but the old emails are supposed to be forwarding any emails that were sent to a new one.
Okay.
Judy already mentioned the website. I was gonna talk about working on that. We've also had some illness, so it was the Daniel show for like a little while. I will say, during the holidays, I was very, not really, what's the word? Very, what's the word when you're happy? Like joyful. Yeah, I was very joyful to see the amount of people that came in to give us treats or to give us a card to say thank you. It was, I think sometimes in this field, it's very easy to just listen to the 5 people that like to complain, where, at least here in Dresden, there's 1,800 people. So there's a lot more people out there. And I tried to save a lot for Anne, but I am human and I like cookies. So there was not a lot left for her. And our IT company is now up and running, so that's wonderful. They came and they hooked us up to their monitoring system, and within 3 seconds of being on them, they found a fault in our server computer. And as you'll see, and as you saw in the warrant, we are paying for a new warranty for the server, which will extend the warranty until 2028, but also means we don't have to pay now for that part that wasn't working. And I spoke to them this afternoon. They ordered it already, and it should be here within the next day or so. So what we get with the new IT company is we are monitored now. As I just said, he like showed me on his like computer, or actually on his phone, how he can see all of our computers right from his phone. If if it's good, it's green. If there's an error, then it's red. And like I said, the server computer popped right up with a red mark. So we get that. They monitor it in case of other things. They do monthly updates for us. They will make sure all of our software is updated as well. They give us pretty good deals on any software or any hardware that we have to buy. They also will be doing a backup for us once a day, which is great, because with Burgess, we were backing up when it worked, I guess.
So we are now free of Burgess. Everything.
They have a Dear John letter saying thanks for your service. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty
So
reassuring.
just the first few days.
Yeah,
It's already been good.
it's already fixed some stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I guess I could talk more about town office, but that's it.
Roads. Now they are. We, Mr. Watson fixed all the washouts and the culverts we had last week. We had that heavy rain, we had the East Pittston Road, the Alexander Road, Common Road. And we had a culvert that washed out, so when he did, we changed it because it was no. And actually got a kudos from people on East Pittston Road saying thank you for doing it. I mean, everybody needs their roads fixed anyway, but we're looking good. The sand and salt is Mother Nature's being good to us, so. I probably shouldn't say that, because it can.
Hey,
Great.
no, that's good, say it.
So,
Probably just jinxed us,
oh, that's all right. We've already cut one down by 4 weeks already, so. Piece of cake. The ground warm.
I've got some notes. Richard Hughes was in before you got here, and he had a few items he wanted to pass on to you, and I took some notes. I'll talk to you after.
Okay. Thank you.
Fire department.
I did not hear from Steve, but I do know that we just had number 2 truck was worked on. It had a clamp was fixed. I don't know what the clamp was for. But that was fixed by Burrow's Garage. And the generator they reported last time was not working properly, so that was a service this morning. Actually, and they serviced the generator at the town office too.
If I may, on the generator, we used it during the outage, the generator ran fine. That from what I mean, I came here and it was running, I don't know how many hours it was running, but it rained steady and.
That's good. It did not have any oil in
Other than that.
So luckily,
So when we run that, we probably ought to be checking it.
it.
it's all we doing. Running things.
So there's that. So hopefully that will last longer. He did say that that generator is no longer made and nobody really has parts for it. So if it breaks, they can fix it if it's a mechanical problem, but if it needs new parts, we're gonna want to look at a different generator. Because they don't make that one anymore. Yeah, that's fine. That's one great thing.
So if I may, with that, and you remember, we put $30,000 away for a generator. Did we change that to, did we put that somewhere or is that still there?
It was spent in this audit that we just received. I remember taking it out of the account and spending it on something.
Okay, I know we had talked about it because it's been there, but we had said it took like 30,000 away.
Yep, there was a grant from 30,000.
Okay. So we just. And it happens, we know it's gonna happen, I mean, we bought 3 years now.
Yep.
Or almost 4 years, so.
What department?
I haven't got anything from Chuck. He did come in last week and give us some updates, or he did come in the week of the holidays and said that everything was running smooth. I did speak to Josh Watson about the plowing of that road, and I said that the town is willing to increase the contract price by 5% to account for the plowing of that driveway, but also to realize that the price of fuel has gone up as well. And he said he appreciates the offer. He's thinking more of a 15% increase because of the nature of the road. It's a dirt road. If there's a gate that blocks it, it's uphill. So he said the 5%, it's a good start, but his counter would be 15%.
So. If that's the case, will just say no, give it back, it's better off to give it to Tom Foss, he charged us a little or nothing to do it last year, so we can ask Tom Foss if he wants to do it again. 15%, that would be $1,200 or more, and the winter's all gone.
Yeah.
So, I'm good friends with him, but I'm not gonna feed his pocket for him. We can ask Tom if he would like to, and ask him how many plowings he does with it.
Yep.
Now, 15%, is that of the total contract?
15% surcharge, yeah. So on top of what he already.
So 15% of $8,000. No,
But it's just laying out there for split the difference, 10%. We did 5, they said 15. I mean,
That is pretty.
if anything is like you, that's.
Yeah.
That optics is there, so question is, would you accept 10% and would we be willing to pay? I mean, we're talking about Tom and 500.
well, that's what I mean. I can't remember what, we can look back and see what Tom charged us last year, but I don't think it was. I thought the bill was pretty low,
I don't remember ever seeing a bill from Tom when I was doing the
or it
contract.
must have been for Michael or something, because there's some,
I do remember I mean, somebody, he plowed it last year.
Yeah, we did.
Unless he never turned the bill in,
I can't do it yet, but
right?
the next meeting we have, I'll be able to.
Well, between now and then, we need to figure out what we're gonna. You wanna counter Josh with a 10? It's up to you guys. 10% is $800. But that includes the surcharge for fuel.
It does. Yeah.
400 of that was gonna be 5% of, yeah, so 400 was gonna be for fuel, so he's actually plowing the driveway for $400, if we can get it for 10.
So I should try. Sounds like two of you are in agreement. Okay.
Did the party request?
Your pack, yeah, oops, sorry. In your package, you have the,
And this is what you wanna send out to,
that's the policy, yeah. Well, yes, you have. Because I didn't rush out to send it because I was thinking about it. It's already well into the budget time, so this is something that we could spend some time on if we wanted, and then adopt it for, for next year. I'd have a copy, but I don't have it. So that's just your, so I figured you guys could just take it now and then we could talk about it.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty good. Would you say so myself?
New business. Appointment of new town clerk.
So I have lots of forms here. The select board and I met with, well, we scheduled 4 candidates last week. 2 of them showed up. And then the other 2 withdrew from the job, so we ended up interviewing 2, which is good because one of the people that we really liked was one of the people that came to their interview. So that was good. So the select board is going to appoint as the registrar and the town clerk, Brianna Vassor. She's from Farmingdale. She lives on the Pittston side of Farmingdale. That's what she keeps saying. I don't know what it means, but maybe the locals do. Means that she's not that far away, I guess. She was in the office for most of the day, no, for all the day today as her first day. She spent a lot of time just absorbing everything. She seemed like a very smart, capable young lady. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about it.
What was her name again?
Brianne Levasseur,
Brienne.
color breed,
Bree,
DREA.
BREANNE, right?
That's her full name, but her name is Bree.
How do you spell the last name?
LEVASSEUR.
That was LAVASSEUR.
Yeah. It's French. So here's the appointment forms.
All right, I have something else on the new business.
Okay, do we wanna vote on
The one,
appointment?
Of the new town clerk?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I'm sorry about that.
And then we do have one more thing too.
Okay,
I'll make a motion that we hire and accept Brianne as the new town clerk.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, there's 2 things, Steve. I forgot. Or that just came up after I did the agenda. Whenever we wanted to talk with them. After we do the audit talk here. And then you, or me, whoever.
just got the one on the rec department, I don't know if all you guys check your emails, but the rec department is due. We got this in December, and this is due. So, and it said to everybody, so everybody got it, and we get it every December, it's we wanna join the
5,000 for,
5,000, right, and. But let you finish and I can read, whatever you guys are doing, I'll read it out.
sure.
You want to talk about the other?
Sure. So after speaking to the board and John, I did put a RFP out for an auditor on Friday. It's not a very lengthy RFP, it just basically says that we are looking to hire a new auditor for a 5-year contract. I didn't want to bog it down because the audit process is already so well defined that anybody that's hired as the auditor will know will know how to do the audit. And once we hire somebody is when we can talk about like a timeline, when we expect it to be done. And their pay. And that was advertised on Friday on the MMA website, and I am compiling a list of auditors that I'm going to personally send it to them as well.
Thank you for that.
So 2 things that I wanted to bring up. Okay, the first thing is the boat landing over here by the big bridge. We have had a gentleman that came, there was a gentleman that called last fall about it. I went to inspect it to see what, because he's saying that it's not accessible and so on. Alan and I spoke about it. And then he came in again this morning to like talk about it again. And from my understanding, the boat landing is a carry in only. And I explained that to the gentleman as well. He would like the town to do some more upkeep of it, meaning remove the logs, remove the grassy area, make it look better, I guess. And I did explain to him that Alan and I, that when you and I spoke about it, it was that the town hasn't done that because it would take a permit from
Army Corps of Engineers and everything to add gravel, to do.
right. So I did explain that to him, and that did not go well, I guess.
Is there someone that lives down there?
I don't know who he is.
You have a name?
No, he didn't say a name. And he wasn't that friendly, so I wasn't excited. I do have his name from when he emailed us back, but that's why we have that. I think, so I can get it. I did tell him that I would bring it up tonight at the meeting and that he was more than welcome to come here. I don't see him. Speak of the devil. There.
What's that?
That's him.
Oh, all right, right on time. Oh,
Right on time.
Perfect.
Thank you. I'm on Reach 302 Middle Road. And my question to the board is, access to the keg deck. I want to launch my boat at the public boat. So as of now, there's obstructions there, and it's a public safety hazard. So I was just wondering, what the town might be able to do to help to remove the obstructions. So I can launch my boat. As far as the logs that's down there, if that's in the way. Not saying we can't, we probably could, at a low tide or something, probably get that out of there, but as far as doing any work to add gravel or anything, it's, people have tried launching their boat and they can't, there's no, Army Corps of Engineers and stuff stopped us, they said could not go below the low water, the high water mark on it, so that's exactly what we did, that's what Reed and Reed did when we did this. Jeff Pierce has more information on it, and maybe he's the one that spearheaded that. But as far as going out, when it's low tide, you can, I mean,
I've been
it's
there.
very in and very out.
I've been there and watched my boat. The thing about it is having more than one boat, and they have to be on a trailer. And the boats that I have, you gotta wet launch them anyways, because there's no floats there, and the floats at Richmond are too high. I'm talking racing shells, kayaks, and other kinds of rowboats, and you know, so handicapped people, disabled veterans, women, men, youth can take advantage of, you know, the boats that I have and, you know, the general public.
I do know the town cannot do anything on their own. If the town wants to go through the Army Corps of Engineers, go through DEP, go up through that, and it's gonna cost a lot of money to try to get in, once, in the winter time, the rocks that are there now won't be there the following, because the ice takes them out. It's a bad spot
I understand.
where all that is,
I
so,
understand with the ice and,
yeah.
I know a lot about this stuff, but,
So what would you like us to do in the short run?
I'm not like really interested in river access right now, only because this time normally it's what, oh, 2 feet thick.
Right.
So, you know, the objection is like, come springtime, I know that, you know, I'll be using it more, friends of mine might want to be using it more. The problem that I'm having with not launching at Richmond is, we were just talking about wet launch, and Richmond is totally, it's polluted over there, pretty bad. The state knows it, everyone knows it. I waded in there, it's just, it's bad. You're not even supposed to take a fish and consume it in this area from the river. And that's labeled in most magazine, in pamphlets. They don't recommend eating any of the fish that you catch out here. I'm not really interested in that. I just want the river access.
So what we can do come springtime probably is on a low tide, remove, there is one big log or whatever, but if
There's
it's,
more than one now.
if it's way out too far, we can't get it.
Right.
I don't, we'll do what we can. But as far as hiring a crane or whatever it is to get that out of there, we're in tidal water, so we want to make sure we don't step on anybody's toes.
Well, we're in tidal water. It's navigable all the way to Augusta.
Yeah.
So
I understand that, but you gotta understand where I'm coming to.
we have a right to launch a boat and get out to the open ocean if we want.
You can carry in and carry out. That's made to carry in and carry out only.
Who made that law? I mean, where's that legislation where it says that you can't launch a trailer?
Nobody says you can't. Oh, it's made for carry in and carry out. Nobody, if you wanna put a 30-foot boat down in there and try to get out, I got pictures of a guy that tried that. You won't do it again.
I had, mine's 26 foot, my rowboat.
Yeah.
And I launched it there, no problem.
Okay.
But there is that big log. You know, at high tide, it's there, you can see it, my boat's flew over, but, you know. A couple hours later, I come in, and the tide's low,
Right.
it's a problem, I'm just,
We'll see what we can do about getting that out of there.
the problem with me was, I just thought that, I wasn't aware of, I just thought that the loader was the town's, and this is in fact the contractor.
Right.
So I just figured that maybe that could do it, but it's just there for loading salt, but it's not the town, so.
Right. Well, I mean, you're not gonna use it right now. I'll take a look at it, right, and see if we can get that log out of there. There's a contractor who lives right there. He might be able to haul it out with his excavator with a
It's
chain.
maple, and it's real heavy.
Yeah.
And it's below, it's at low water, I mean, and there's another one up high, I don't know if it came up with some of the flood we had in the high.
Right.
But I know it's gonna be a constant thing. Because the stuff's floating in the river all the time.
Right.
So I'm just. I know that they took the funds to do the ramp from the recreation department, right?
We did a certain part of it, that's right.
So.
But we did with what was supposed to be done with the monies. There's no more, that part of it.
Believe me, give me a- I've been down, I pick up beer bottles down there myself, and I'm down there, pick up the trash. Cause it's glass, some of it's glass, I don't want it broken, cause when I watch them, yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see about cleaning some logs up for you.
All right, well, I don't mean a personal matter,
Okay.
but I mean, it's, part of the town is saving the water access, and there it is, just want to enjoy it.
All right.
Thanks for your time.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So timely.
Very timely.
Oh, amazing.
Second item you gotta talk about.
Now we can move on to
This was on the recreation that we do yearly. Dwayne Gould is asking if we want to up again for this year. Yeah, says, I want to thank you for your continued support with Stafford Community Center Parks and Recreation. It just goes on, and it does say, from the town of Dresden, year to date, over 130 members were taken out by Dresden residents in the year 2022, throughout the year. And they do track individual, family, and day passes taken out by individuals without membership. But this is on paper and not tabulated for totals for each town. However, we do sell a lot of day passes to individuals that are used to fitness room, gymnasium, and pool facilities. They can use all that, plus they do a day pass, they get one Sunday a month, anybody can come for Dresden for free down there. I printed it off the computer for. So, and it says here, they go by population, up to 999 is 4,500, and 1,000 to 1999 is 5,000 a year. 2,000 to 299 is 5,500, so then it goes up from there. So it figures out $2.90 per person per town, what it figures out to be. I did see that in his calculation here somewhere. So, just gonna see if we want to take 5,000 out of it. Do we still want to continue with the program? It sounds like it's 130. I'm surprised that we only had 100, a little over 100 last year. This is 130 this year.
I didn't bring it to the board because the town already approved it at town meeting. It was part of the budget process. It was part of the budget.
Oh, so we don't have to.
The town meeting. Yeah,
all
supersede you
right, I
guys.
didn't,
Right, and it was stated it was 5,000, it's
Yeah.
5,000 again. So
right,
I think,
but I know it went from January to December, not from June
Right. Yeah.
to, I know it's off, it's off kilter, so
No,
I guess
it's
I'm
already in the
I'm
budget.
out of line then.
No, you're never
I
out.
just want to make sure everybody saw this.
Yep.
We will just send them,
It's gonna be on the next one.
okay. Thank you for that. I don't have anything else.
no, good. One comment on the Wisconsin Community Center is, it's good that we have access, and anyone that wants to get the membership, they do get the resident rate. It's a good offering for our citizens, so I'm glad to hear it's 130 members. The numbers that, when I went down there and talked to them, were, I thought, a little lower, but it's great that it's up to 130, so that's good.
I heard just quite a pile of people that play pickleball from Dresden down there. I don't know what it is, never played it.
That and needs handball. And you have to be over 85.
Next item, citizens' concerns.
Can we start with the generator
there was a $30,000 grant for a new generator. Did you say that money was spent? How did you do that?
No, it wasn't a grant. We took $30,000 out of surplus quite a few years ago. And just put it in a line item for a generator. And we never spent it, and that's what I just.
It was a FEMA is what I believe it was.
FEMA grant.
FEMA, okay.
Yeah,
So if it was specific for a generator, how? The initial question would be, what did you spend it on? And
without being connected to the town, I can't look it up, but, in here, it would just say the 30,000, it wouldn't say like where it went or what it was for.
If I may ask, where did you get FEMA grant?
I don't know. It was in the budget review notes from a year ago, right? Still having problems with the generator, and it was a $30,000 FEMA grant.
I don't know where the word FEMA came for that, because we took that out of surplus and put that in there, so I have no idea where the word FEMA came.
Town meeting, please, yeah.
I added the word FEMA because there was talk about it in the
Oh,
notes.
well,
and
it shouldn't have been, FEMA even added in that, that had nothing to do with FEMA at all.
It was just a budgetary item.
That's right.
Town warrant, it wasn't anything given to that.
Okay.
So I'm glad that's brought up and, because I know, I never knew nothing about that.
So,
That was,
well,
and I'm gonna say that was probably 4 years ago that we did this. When we did that, if we wanna go back to the minutes of town meeting. Probably in one of the books.
Well, was it 30,000 voted on, approved for a generator?
Yes, there was. Yes, there was.
How can you move money?
I don't know. I'm just saying, we set aside $30,000 for a generator and hooked it up, which actually something did go wrong. We took a few thousand out of it, out of that 30 to make it run. I can't remember what it was. And then, but there still was $28,000 left in there. This has been through 2 different Michael town managers, and now we're going through the 3rd one, so it's,
But if you
Well-
specifically earmarked it.
Yeah.
For a
Can you look
generator.
into that? Yeah. And
so
Show us the-
he said he,
if I had access, yes, I could do it right now. But
Well, could we have it at the next meeting, please?
so did we take it out of the line item? Did we,
I accounted for it because it wasn't accounted for. All the money was still there, so I took it out of. Let's see if I'm here.
I mean, it sounds as though we have an issue with the generator there that we should deal with.
right, and we know when that guy from Brunswick Lawn and Garden says, we're done with this thing, that's when we was gonna buy a generator. That was always the point. As far as with the generator, but it sounds like it's using oil. There's no guy, it ran for 2 days now. I just said last time, so we definitely gotta be thinking about it, but
Right,
it's,
and the PM on that is, once you run it for 24 hours, you're supposed to check the oil.
Right.
Right, but if it used all the oil, then
Who's responsible for that?
should be Steve Lilly.
it is, as we said about preventative maintenance, you've got to do it. So,
Well, can we get some answers for the next meeting?
Yes,
Yes,
Thank you. Next item, the solar moratorium process, the last meeting. It was discussed that some dates are getting the survey back on the 18th. And then public hearing on the 25th. Are those dates still realistic?
yes, we're gonna work on the mailing for this week. So you should see it in your mailboxes soon.
Question on the RFP for the auditor, why are you going 5 years? Why would you do a 1 year with an auto renewal or, have the right to cancel the contract or something of that sort, so that you're not locked in?
The right to cancel a contract is always there, so if either party is not happy, it can be canceled. The idea was that was that 5 years gives the firms more like they know like that they'll have the work for an X number of years. But if we're not happy, then obviously we can end the agreement.
So you'll have a cancellation clause that's pretty airtight, as far as we have to go to another auditor in time.
There will be language to get out of that contract, yes. If they don't fulfill their end of it.
You're gonna have a performance act as a thing. That you lay out what it is they have to do, what your expectation is, so that if the contract is canceled, it's pretty clear cut, black and white, and there isn't any risk of it going to the law or something of that sort. I mean, we want to leave the legal out of it.
Yeah.
So is it going to have performance clauses?
That's what I talked about with them, was that once we have somebody is when we can negotiate, if the books close on June 30th, then we expect to have this by this date, we expect to have this by that date.
So you'll have that in the
Yes.
RFP.
That's my plan, yes.
That's not, it won't be in the RFP though.
It's
right?
not in the RFP, but the contract.
It should, but, so you're asking somebody to bid on something of an unknown, because they're not gonna know what the performance standards are. So why wouldn't you put in an attachment exhibit, whatever you wanna call it, that this is the performance standards that we have, that will go along with this contract.
Deliverables.
My thought
In a way,
was,
it's relevant to the It's the contract language that we would want to have.
right,
But in addition to your Ts and Cs, you want to make sure that you deliverables was one thing, what you expected.
Right, that's what
They don't
the statement of work, that LaSalle part, the statement of work,
I-
that's
Right,
should all be defined in that.
is it going to be,
in the contract that we signed, yeah.
for the RFP, you're not sending out a statement of work if you're.
We've already sent out an RFP, so I don't know how we could, you can't, unless he retracts it, sends out another one. He's already sent out one.
The idea, I spoke to a few other towns and I looked at what a few other towns had like put up. And this is what they did to advertise, like, they were looking for one.
So you're gonna down select based on the contract, but nothing else. Is that, am I missing something? Because like here, there should be a statement of work that goes out with the RFP. There you should, that's where all your performance standards, your deliverables, everything should be in that RFP. Understanding other towns haven't done it. People are gonna bid based on an unknown, because they don't know that they have these performance standards. You're gonna down select, and then you're gonna tell them, I'm adding this to your contract.
Yes, but what usually happens is what deference to what Daniel has done, that's usually an initial phase to attract attention. And then you say, we have a detailed scope of work document that, please apply to this number and we'll be happy to send it. That's many cases the way. So we could do that.
That's not how I was doing it, but that sounds great.
But we have to know what we want. That's really the most important thing. What do we want? What are those criteria? What's been our past experience? What have we learned?
I think we know that.
Well, boy, it's taken us a long time to figure that out though, Alan.
I understand.
This is,
Well, plowing is a case in point. I mean, we put out the RFP for a plowing contract. We selected somebody and now they're changing the substance of the contract. Why don't we just go back and see who the other bidders were and give them an opportunity? Because maybe with the surcharge, that person is no longer the lowest bid.
Nobody else bid on the contract.
why are we not doing They put on a contract that included the scope of work.
It didn't include the water. Department.
Got
It was
thank you.
assumed.
Right, thank you. And then it was written in. Got it.
And Daniel, you're looking for just auditors to do financial audits, not any assessment of internal controls. Do
do.
towns and municipalities ask for that?
Yes, so when you're a public accountant and you audit a town like us, that's part of the general standard of that. General accounting standards is to do is to not only do a financial, but to do, so we have to send them like a copy of a tax lien. We have to send them our like policies and the procedures, so we just adopted a policy this past fall for when we put things up to bid. They're gonna want that to make sure that is part of the process, so it's all inclusive, yes. That's part of the general accountability standards for auditing a public, town.
Is that the process in which Brewer was engaged in the last 5 years for the town of Dresden?
They have
Anyone's
audited,
best knowledge?
they have audited everything, yes.
Yes, they've audited everything, but have they come back to the town? Finding mistakes, errors, omissions, concerns, mislabelings, all the things that you discovered and spent.
Or weaknesses
Or
in
weaknesses, right?
control?
Right, and have come back with any kind of written recommendations to us? Does that exist in any record in the town of
Or
Dresden?
management comments?
There is a management letter that I have not seen that has anything like that in it.
Nothing like that.
He gives a report in the town report every year.
Yes,
Right.
but that they just say, we've gone through this and we've done that, but
Right.
on a more introspective, Daniel has found, many glaring glitches, errors, whatever you want to call them, omissions, commissions, etc.
For instance, weaknesses around
Yep.
the water department.
Right.
Yep.
Has anybody ever brought something like that up in the management comment?
Not that I've seen, no.
That's, ooh.
I think a lot of the way that the town was doing things in terms of that wasn't necessarily wrong, but it wasn't the clean way to do it. So there may not, so I can't speak for Brewer's office, but maybe there was nothing to report because what they were doing wasn't illegal, but that doesn't mean that it shouldn't be fixed.
So I just come back to that whole
You're kind of going
standard.
around
that
this, but
You've gotta lay out for the auditor what your expectation is in that RFP process. So there is no doubt in that person's mind when they come in and sign the dotted line of what you want them to do, and none of this follow through later. Oh, we forgot, we want to do this too. I mean, and the plowing is a prime example, correct? Now you're looking to go to somebody else to do it. If that statement of work had been written and had all that detail in it, there'd have been no question, there'd have been no discussion. It'd have been complete.
I think if you look in the front of one of the town reports, Brewer will clarify that he's really not doing an assessment of internal controls. Why?
They asked for all of it, so I don't know why they would say that.
Well, read the front of the article.
Yeah.
But somewhere along the process, we're not accepting accountability for, the level of qualified business practices. And that to me is the most upsetting thing, that these problems have existed for a long time. This gentleman, to me, I had more of an enlightening conversation with him to understand what his side of the equation is and what he can bring to the party. He seems to have a lot of skills that we're not using. So I don't know that, I'm not against him. I'm just saying we need to take a fresh look at what we're doing and how we go about running the town of Dresden. And what's our financial and fiscal responsibility? I know on the budget committee, we get, very little internal detail. We have a lot of line items, but not a lot of drill downs. And I think this year, we're gonna be asking for a lot more detail to try and understand and see how we can help you guys, bring this into a more realistic way and even help you draft an RFP. I'm sure MMA must have some kind of a format or a structure for guiding you on how to develop an RFP for a town audit. This sounds like it's bang right in their sweet spot, and we're paying for that service. So let's get a document, cut it up and see what we got.
So let's take, we've heard all this tonight, let me make a suggestion that let's put something together, like at least everybody's saying. And what we want the people, even though we sent the RFP out, let's have a piece of letter saying, all right, thank you for the response, but this is what we want. This is what we expect you to do if you accept this. So let's get it, let's make up another piece of it. I know we only sent a small piece out so we can get some RFP. But let's make sure they know what Gary, let's make sure they know the timeline, everything we want. Come up with something that what we need.
Bring that to the next meeting, or
And we will have it before then.
I would hope so.
May I make a comment? From a former life as an accountant,
I'm sorry.
danger, yes. Some firms hire an auditing company to simply fulfill the letter of the law and good to go. Other firms say, our internal analysis indicates we have a weakness in this area, and the auditor is the best person to come in and clean up the mess because employees get too involved and clean up the mess. So part of what you might want to be thinking about is how can the auditor help you do your job better in the coming years?
Yes.
By getting into some areas that haven't been touched in a while, necrotic, areas. And the auditor doesn't just say you did you balanced all your checking accounts, but also knows how to read the numbers to discover.
Gary,
I'm sorry.
I went to work in one church and I was introduced to the accountant and he showed me the statements. This number and this number were supposed to be the same number and they weren't. And he was using whiteout on a computer screen. So I'm just saying, the auditor is a resource.
Yes.
And in addition to just doing the routine audit, you've already discovered a lot of things in the town office that need improvement. Let the auditor be your partner.
Yep. And they definitely will. I think that Dresden hasn't, just because they do the audit, that doesn't mean that you can't speak with them throughout the year.
Right.
I've had instances where, like, for example, when all the towns got all the like federal money, I'm 99% sure a lot of towns called their auditors and be like, hey, whoa, how do I account for this and where do I put it?
Right.
And that's why I've used them in the past, is that, yes, you can do that. And hopefully we will get to that point, whether it's Fred Brewer's office or it's somebody else's office. I will work on more of that. Just so that people, we weren't gonna, if somebody wouldn't, the select board wouldn't hire an auditor, hopefully, without knowing what they wanted and hoping that the auditor knew what they wanted as well. But obviously the plowing contract shows that doesn't always happen. So I will work on that.
Where are you publishing the RFP?
So I put it on the MMA website. We'll prepare right now. And I'm going to the state office of the auditor has a list of accountants that are certified to do these type of audits. So I'm also going to go through that list and send it out personally to all the audit firms too.
I was thinking more along the line of the plowing.
Oh.
Well, you have it placed on the website.
But there's nothing there.
No, it's.
I guess, what do you mean? I guess, what do you mean on plowing?
Where are other RFPs generally published? Like, what is the general?
Put it like the RFP for plowing, well, I don't even know if we put it on the MMA website, I'm sure we do, but we always put it in all the local newspapers. We put it in our communicator, but it's in the KJ, Times Record, Wisconsin. All the surrounding papers, we put it in, and that's because we got Steve McGee, we got Seabreeze. I can't remember, there was actually a company from Clinton, I think that's put in for it. So we had quite a few, but there was quite a difference in price. But this little one, we was hoping local contractors, it's only plowing all public properties. It's a $8,000 a year property for plowing and everything, and was trying to keep it from the local contractors, and we get one from Richmond, but we've had one from Bath. We had one outfit that plowed snow here in Goodall that actually did the town properties, and that's what we really want to do. But these contractors don't wanna, they don't wanna get another truck and do town properties, they wanna keep it the big ones.
Okay.
So,
So those kept on, all of those RFPs are kept on file at the town office.
they should, Michael. I do have, factors, I just brought it up, and. I actually,
So you don't know,
no, I know there's not a fee, I know
whether
that,
they kept on file at the town
oh,
office.
Yes, I
that
have
I
them.
don't know. That's not my,
Yes, I have them.
you know, I'm not gonna go back and see if somebody threw them away, and I know we put them out. So,
Yes, it's
There
there.
should be posted in presentation. On our own website as well.
Yeah.
That's it, yes.
Yeah, they should all be in the digital format. There's no reason why it has to be on paper. All our records should be digitized. And we're spending a lot of money on equipment and things, and we have the ability to do that.
just do it, just to let you know, I looked at the contract with Josh Watson. So, we really need to make a deal, because he can walk away, his contract ended last year. We did not sign a new one for this year, unless you can find it. I don't
I
have it.
know there was one that was through to that was, there was a 3-year contract that Michael Foss did.
All right,
Wow. How much is that contract worth? A couple $100,000?
no, this is just 8,000 of this.
Oh, this is a little contract.
No, the one for Michael, you did, but I understand the big one, I'm talking the little,
I'm pretty sure it was done last year, because I have a file that says.
all right, I went through all my emails and tried to find it this afternoon, so I could have the right, and I could only find the one that ended in 2022.
It should be stored electronically. If it was done.
That's beyond my pay rate, that's for these guys.
I've never seen an RFP published in the communicator, and I was looking for the January communicator online, but both websites seem to be down.
They're not, the new one
Where's
is, isn't, there's nothing on it.
Yeah.
Is January down there?
No,
It's not on there yet, no.
it's not.
All right,
I just have one other thing. I think over the holidays, we had a sign that was basically static in town. It would be nice if we use that investment. We have a lot of committees, we have a lot of people that pass that sign. And it's not doing us any good to have either old information or nothing relevant. We have a firefighter shortage. That message should be up there all the time. There should be, 8 or 10 stat messages that just keep running, that have a life of their own, have a time frame in which they run. There should be immediate plan for the sign. So we need to start operating that like a media operation, not just when we have time to change the message. And I know.
It was down, just to let you know, nobody, and Dawn was in with it too, it was, when we had the power outage, it meant you couldn't do anything with it. So they finally, he called the company, he didn't get back to him, I don't, Daniel did something, unplugged it, you might should say, but anyways, it started working again. So we got it going, so there was a issue with power, kept going in and out at that time.
But I mean, we just need to have a plan, like, committees, every committee could send in information. There are all different types of events that could be posted. These are people's concern about needing
I
assistance.
think we've always talked about this, I thought this was that, I mean, I don't know,
No,
it's,
It's like, for instance, Dresden Elementary has a Frosty Fair or whatever we're calling it this weekend. So it should be on the sign.
right, right, yeah. So,
but did
We're
anybody?
working on getting access. In fact, I'm gonna be in the office tomorrow. With hopes that we can go over that process. So that we have a contingency when somebody can't access, it can still be updated. Right now, we don't have that. But
I thought it could be accessed from a cell phone if you had the password.
No, it has a cell phone.
It has its own cell phone?
It has a cell phone, a like modem. I can log into it like right now
Right,
and change it from here
right,
or from wherever.
You
I
want
am, yes,
right, but no one else can.
Dawn will soon.
Oh, Don will sit, okay. Good, well, that's good.
Yes, Dave.
Have we ever gotten a document to explain or to tell us what the roads are, like the dirt roads are here in town, like for rangeways and so on? We've gone through the Hunter Road expense, we've gone through the Reed Rock Road expense and so on. And now we're in the middle of the Ballard Road, which I would like to know what the status of that is too, but have we got any documentation to tell us what the rural end of the common road is, what it's called? And, you know, what if somebody wanted to put a development up in there on the Biden Wood and everything there? They use the common, that type of thing. Do we have any documentation on that?
I don't. Jay Robbins would be the one to talk to you about rangeways or old discontinued town roads. I have found out as they're going to legislature, there's something about that nobody has used an old discontinued town road or rangeway doesn't do it, because rangeway means people get to that property. So rangeway will never go away. As far as that, people have to get, but an old town road, if it hasn't been used for 32 years, no traffic, no anything for 32 years, I believe it reverts back to the landowners. And the town of Dresden can do nothing whatsoever. But as long as there's a snowmobile trail, there's a walking trail or a horse trail or something on one of them, right, actually it used to be town way, then it's still continues, still considered, I do believe, a town way.
Public access?
Public access, yes.
Okay, for instance, the Morton Road is down on the middle road.
Yep,
Do you know the status of that?
that has been just a snowmobile trail by the landowners letting it go there. Nobody, not that I know of, nobody's ever used that road except the landowners. So
Well, the snowmobile club has used it.
I know that,
Right.
but if the landowners, it is a town. It's not a town, I don't know on that one, I can't say more, maybe the gentleman behind us can say a little bit on it.
To be helpful. So it's 30 years as opposed to 32.
30,
But
okay,
at 30 years, if a town way is not used, the right is lost. And the landowners don't take action to do that, you can't recover it. So let's say you're 32, you go out and walk on it, trying to reestablish use. The use has been lost at the 30-year mark, just what you were saying. But another way of saying, the other problem is, one person granting permission for part of it eliminates what's called the claim of right, or the adverse use. And as a result of that, no public interest is ever accumulated. So it's just what you're saying, just another way of saying it, it's just what you're saying, that, you know, running a snowmobile with consent doesn't get you there. So, you know, we're part of the Ridge Road between Mill Road and River Road on our land. Everybody up there is always granted permission to snowmobile club, right?
Right.
And so that's not establishing public use because it's not by a claim of right. And that's the really distinguishing feature for maintaining that town access. Thanks for understanding.
right. That helped out, thank you.
And I don't know the answer to any particular.
Right. We have a lot of them in town of Dresden that nobody's using anymore, nobody has used, or, you know,
So what is the status of the Ballard Road?
I don't know, what is that?
Y'all go walk on them, make a lot that we walked all those roads.
Actually, I did for hunting season, I went all the way on the Ballard Road. It is open to public way, so.
It is, okay.
It is.
There's no,
what's
there's
the way for
nothing,
coordinate?
just because she says it isn't, it is a public town way, and it's right in the book.
There's a perfect item to the side.
There you go.
right? The reopening of Ballard Road.
Thank you very much.
But we hear that little-
No, I like that. Do anything.
The old Ballard Road gang, though.
So back to my question, what is the status of the Ballard Road?
They're waiting on a court date, Dave. The court's gonna set a date for a trial.
Can you knock on some big door and say, hey, I want to what?
But you know, somehow the judges just don't wanna jump when we ask them to.
You're scared of.
Probably Justin can answer this a lot better than I can, but the last I talked with the court, this county was 16,000 cases behind, no, 16,000 criminal cases behind, or maybe that's the whole state. Anyway,
It's not Lincoln County.
there's a backlog of the criminal cases, so the courts, so so this type, which is called an 80K lawsuit, are being put on the back burner.
May I?
Yeah, please.
So, for those of you who don't know, I run the court-appointed
Right.
system for the state. And so criminal cases are delayed by years, and civil cases are basically go off indefinitely.
Yeah.
But Lincoln County, where the judge here has a tendency to pull in civil things that don't require a jury, this would require a jury, in fairly promptly, or, so they open up with short notice and they drag the lawyers when they get in, because again, you don't have to collect the jury. So there's some hope, but you could say years time frame, not a month's time frame for any of this.
And to go on to what, and to go off from what Justin said, if you want me to say this, you can tell me not to say it. We had a court, we had court dates, and the opposing side has made things harder.
Every time we get a court date, they throw a firecracker in there and it just, I don't know if it's ever gonna happen. It's too bad. It's just.
Are we within the budget that we've allocated to this incident, this issue that we've been dealing with for a long time? Chasing for almost 5 years, or is it just ongoing?
It's ongoing. We've never allocated.
Yeah, how much money have we spent to date? Do we even know?
Tens of thousands of dollars.
Well, wouldn't it be nice to know how much money we
Yeah,
spent?
what are you gonna do, Gary?
I don't know.
What, you know,
Hey, you know what?
gonna just jump in the
Maybe
clerk's
find a way
office?
to make it
Wait,
something, okay?
We tried.
You're asking, and I'm telling you, you can't walk into the clerk's office and say, I want a date. Because
Okay, I understand that. That's not what I'm saying. How long have we been trying to get a date? This case, this thing started in 2017. I sat here at a select board meeting when Heather Beasley made her presentation. That was in the fall, I think, of 2017. That's 5 years, guys.
The town has tried multiple
So
times.
that's why I'm just curious, how much money have we as taxpayers had to bear as a result of this situation?
It's over $25,000. I would probably put it at 25 to like 45,000.
And that doesn't include your time. Or, you know, the collective time of the people here. If we prorated, it'd probably be more. All the site visits and these are just the out-of-pocket costs that we paid out for
That's
a wide
legal
range of
fees.
people.
But the other thing is, do we just say heck with it and let her have the road? And then we lose the right all the way to 27?
That's a
You know.
decision, that's a decision you have to make based on the risk and the reward. You know,
This last final court thing is there's no more appeals.
what if she wins?
Well, then just.
What if she wins if she wins?
But what if you don't? We go all the way back to, then we don't, we get sued by Jack Shaw because we let her do something that we wasn't supposed to bring in to begin with.
I don't think we should go into the lawsuit.
Yeah.
I don't think we should go
I
into
don't
the
think we
lawsuit.
should talk about this, probably not.
Yeah.
I think we should.
It's,
She's a violation of the land use ordinance. And if you let that person go, why can't everybody else?
We've taken her and her lawyer has done everything he can every single time to delay it. We've tried it. We've given them even this 80K stuff. We're doing everything we can. But evidently smarter than our lawyer,
who's our lawyer?
so.
He's a good lawyer.
We will, hopefully we'll have answers soon.
Okay. That's good.
Nice to see that solved before I get done in June, before June 30th. So,
It would be a nice project.
if it would.
I have one more question. This is just a yes or no. Please don't turn this into a discussion. At the last, no, at a few meetings ago, we talked about the communicator being mailed to everybody in town. We've had a resident that asked why it hasn't been mailed to everybody in town. I was under the impression that we were going to do that because people don't necessarily read it. They throw it away a lot. I just want to make sure that's what we thought.
I make a motion, we send it all back out again.
Okay.
Otherwise, Matt, it just, let's try it. We find out it's, you know, what's it gonna cost us, what's it cost us now, what's it gonna cost us to mail to everybody?
Per month?
Yeah,
It's about $166 per month, so $1,500 per year.
right now it's 160, no, it's not right now, right?
That's what it would be through the every door, the direct mail program. That's not the cost of the paper and the ink and the
Right.
people's time.
I think I brought it up before, I think that's just me, let's put it back out there to see if it works again, and we find out. Same thing, and we can stop it at any time,
Sure.
but that's just my opinion. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Catherine, when she was doing the communicator, she made it a whole lot more interesting. And I think people would be more inclined to read it if, you know, that extra page was in there and there was something specifically about people in the town, not just endless notices. So I hope that's gonna continue, and I think that people would be more inclined to read it if it was.
Well, I asked that of the new lady about the communicator and asking her to take that over, and she had no problem whatsoever, so hopefully she can keep it up to par like Catherine did. It was very good, so we do miss it. It was.
Do you have anything else?
No? I'll make the motion, we adjourn.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Hey, guys.